It's time for Wallow and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here's your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in on a chilly Wednesday, hump day morning. It is already the 26th of January. I'm telling you, the older I get, this thing just flies by. Big Papi. David Ortiz gets into the Hall of Fame. He's the only one. Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Curt Schilling, Sammy Sosa, in their last shots, unless they get in by the Veterans Committee, don't get in. And when they were being accused of using performance-enhancing drugs, I almost forgot they were called PEDs. I was trying to think of that. I was pretty adamant about them not getting in. The only guy, maybe two, I would have to say Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds both did enough prior to using PEDs to get in. It does seem weird. Because sort of my definition, I've never figured out the correct percentage, but I would have to say in your era, you have to be, to get into the Hall of Fame, the upper 2 to 3%. That's sort of, I guess, what I feel. Because it's not the good Hall of Good. Hall of Good. It's not the great Hall of Greats. It's the Hall of Fame. It's of excellence. It's the cream of the crop of that era that set what is the standard for play in that particular era. I have no problem with David Ortiz got in, who got in, by the way, just over 77.9%. So if you don't know, it's done by the baseball writers, who are petty kind of guys, or have been in the past. And sometimes personality becomes a part of it. And I think David Ortiz, Big Papi, was so popular with not just the fans, but the writers, that was helpful for him. But you have to have, and I don't have a problem with Ortiz getting in, but you have to be the cream of the crop of your era. And let's not try to compare eras. That's just not fair. Now they're talking about moving the mound back a foot. They're going to use robot umpires. Are going to do it at a bunch of AAA cities this year. So everything changes, but not in your era. It does seem strange to me that Bonds and Clemens, who definitely were the stars of their era, one a pitcher and one a slugger. It's hard for me to not see them in. I would not be shocked, even though these are the same writers that are involved in introducing candidates to the Veterans Committee, but I wouldn't be shocked if eventually those guys got in. They can't get voted in anymore. They used up their 10 years.
It's I was talking to one of my buddies about this. These are the players of the steroid era players, the players that I grew up watching, and baseball was like the premier sport for me to watch when I was growing up. And it seems like all of the players that I grew up loving and admiring and following are being erased from baseball history, essentially. And it's they're not erased from my memory. Obviously, that's really what matters. But it's just a shame, at least in my mind. But it seems like it's that's kind of what you have been fighting for. Except for Bonds and Clemens, but like the McGuires and the Sosas of the world.
Well, Sammy, really, I'll be honest with you. I love Sammy, but Sammy lost me when he couldn't remember how to speak English in front of Congress. That was the end of me and Sammy Sosa. I mean, I loved him as a player. He was a skinny guy when he first started with the Texas Rangers. There's no question. He used everything. He had that one time where the bat came out and he had the juiced bat.
The cork bat, yeah.
The cork bat. And he had juice. There's no doubt about it. Just look at his body. Look at how his body went from being a kid to where he ended up. And I could live with all that because I did like his personality. But when he couldn't remember how to speak English, that was just silly. I couldn't take him after that. But Bonds and Clemens, Curt Schilling, there is an argument to be made that Curt Schilling isn't in because of his political beliefs, and he's a wacky right winger, and that may affect a more liberal leaning media in that regard. I forgot what his percentages was, but it was way down. So I don't think he's getting in. It'll be interesting. Next couple of years, there seems to be a couple of guys that will get in. Roland will get in. Ty Helton might get in.
Kurt Schilling was 58.6%.
58.6? Yeah. I had a feeling it was pretty poor. So anyway, we got one in, and we'll see what the veterans have to say before it is all said and done.
Is David Ortiz the first DH only to be voted in the Hall of Fame? I would think so.
Oh.
I can't imagine there's been another one before.
You know what?
him.
We will have Brett Norsworthy on in about 10 or 12 minutes here, and I got a feeling he can share. He might know all about that. We're going to talk some SEC hoops with him. Also, I want to talk some recruiting and transfers. It was a really good story written by a combination of Blake Toppelmeyer and John Adams, who do a great job for the Gannett chain on the SEC. And, for instance, I want to say that in the first signing period, and of course we know we have another football signing period coming up second Wednesday of February, and in that, we do get a text from our friend Greg Gaston. Thank you. Edgar Martinez. I thought there was one other that got in. Edgar Martinez is the guy. I believe in the very first signing period, Lane Kiffin's class was 10th out of the 14 in the SEC. But nationally, his transfer class was third, and he keeps getting more. Which is more important in this day and age, the transfer portal or signing of high school guys, especially if they're not five-star, locked-in, ready-to-go guys?
Well, it seems like with Dabo, right? People are criticizing Dabo for his, he hasn't adjusted with the times in terms of the transferring. So it certainly is far more important than it used to be.
Yeah. No, I think, and this is for both sports, I believe in the end now you really have to have both. We're seeing in basketball for sure that it is really hard. You could have blue chip guys. You can have five-star guys like Memphis has, and they can struggle when they're up against, if they're 17, like one of Monty Bates, and they're up against some 23-year-old transfer that's played the game for 4 years at three different schools, or 5 years at three different schools, like some of these guys who aren't athletically as good as Amani Bates, but they are physically more rugged, and they've learned the craft, and they know the tricks, and they know how to use their bodies against a weaker guy. And so I think you're going to have a combination. I don't think there will be a problem with getting the 3, 4, even a 5-star guy. One guy, I would limit that to one guy. If he goes, he goes. If he sticks around for another year, fantastic. But supplement that with a couple 3 to 4-star guys that you think are going to stick around for a couple of years and grow with you. And then make sure you get whatever your needs may be with the older guys that you know you can plug in and that will get minutes. Because if you bring a guy in my estimation, that transfers, and you don't play him, that's going to be a chemistry issue. And we've seen all of those. Tonight, it's the Grizz, it's San Antonio, but tomorrow may be even more important. Because tomorrow, the All-Stars are revealed. Ja's got to be in, right? I mean, he's got to start. He ended up getting more votes than Luka, right? The number one guard is Steph Curry, and you're not catching him. But he won that by a landslide. And he probably should. I mean, come on. He's one of the faces of the NBA. You know, he and LeBron, probably those are the two main faces, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would think so.
And then he was past Luka. I think it's a silly way they do it. You know, there are some days you can vote 3 times.
Yeah, and
I don't get that.
And sometimes your votes count as double or 3 times or whatever.
Leonard Draper's grandson, Leonard Draper Jr.'s son, Trey, who used to be a Tiger, so he now works for Ja Morant. He's like his assistant, for lack of a better term. I don't know what the whole term is. And I love Trey, and you know I love the Draper family. I really do. But he was saying that his dad, who apparently is like 60 years old, I had no idea. I knew Leonard was up there, senior. I didn't know Junior was like already 60. He looked good. He said, he doesn't do any social media, but he opened up a Twitter account so that he could vote. How about that? So that's how crazy people have gotten in Memphis. And, you know, when you're in a big city like Dallas, they're not – I mean, you got the Cowboys. That's number one, right? And then there's Rangers fans and there's hockey fans. They got everything there. So it's a little bit harder, I think, for the fan base to be so passionate and crazy to do all this. You can vote 3 times today. I mean, which is silly in my mind. Anyway, that's the way they do it. And so I'm pretty sure that Ja will be announced as a selection. Think about what has happened to him this year. And then he's going to get that big contract coming. Is it next year that he gets it?
I believe this offseason.
Yeah, I think that's it. But he got his own Nike commercial this past year, which means, right, he's going to get his own shoe, isn't he? Isn't it just around the corner when you get your own commercial like that you end up getting your own shoe?
That was the precursor to it, maybe, you know?
I think it is. That would be a good question for Penny Hardaway. You know, I keep saying, Penny wears these shoes that are limited shoes. Do you know how much some of these shoes are worth? These Nike shoes that he'll wear at games. He brings them in a little bag separate from the ones that he wears every day. And like his own shoe he was wearing at the show the other day. And it was a limited edition shoe. I forget what he called it, something with a C. Danny O'Brien, if you're listening, because he knows all this. Cassie Carlson knows all the shoes, too. She's like a shoe aficionado. But I asked him, so, Penny, what are those worth? He goes, about $9,000. I said, what? $9,000? What? Is there gold in that shoe? He goes, they're a limited edition, and people love them. And that's not the original price. Like, the original price is $300-$400, whatever it may be. But on the secondary market, when you only have so many, the price goes up. $9,000. $9,000. Crazy. But he's going to get that. So he's already got his own Nike commercial. I'm going to assume after he signs his big deal, he's going to get his own shoe. He's already had, 2 unbelievable highlights this year. The block on Avery Bradley with 2 hands, is that the best one, you think?
Yeah, that's got to be number one. The spinning layup
That's
is great.
it. That's the other, the 360, where he was – the most amazing thing to me about that is when you know the backstory, it's even better, right? Because he was going – who did he do that against? I'm trying to remember.
It was just a couple weeks ago. I don't remember who it was against. I'll look.
He was going in. He was mad about a non-call or something like that, right? So he was going to show them, and he was going to hammer it home with one of those monster dunks over somebody.
It was the Bulls.
Oh, it was Chicago. It was Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah.
So he's mad about that, and when he got there, somebody was in his way. So he couldn't really make that shot. So he improvises as he's starting to take off for the jam, sees the problem, does a 360. It was just incredible. So I don't know which is even better. I don't know if it's the block or knowing the backstory if it's the 360 spin.
Certainly in terms of basketball, but the block is unlike anything I've ever seen before. I mean, that was unbelievable. And he's led SportsCenter so many times with these highlights as well, and his sound bites of talking. And I think, like you were talking about the All-Star game, I think that certainly is a factor in the national vote more so than just the Memphis vote.
I like this whole attitude. He said, when I was a kid, man, I was glued in to the All-Star game. It really meant a lot to me. And then when I didn't make it, I'm not watching the All-Star game until I'm there. Until I get voted in, you're dead to me, kind of. You know, like a gangster. You're dead to me.
Have you seen the jerseys this year for the All-Star game?
No.
They are the ugliest All-Star game jerseys I've ever seen. It would be a shame if Ja makes his first All-Star game. Hopefully they have like something up their sleeve, and these are like the ones they sell to fans, kind of like baseball used to do, and then they would wear the real jerseys. Hopefully the NBA has something up their sleeves, because it would be a real shame if Ja Morant in his first All-Star appearance had to wear these jerseys.
Tell me, am I crazy? But didn't they used to wear, like, the East would wear the home jerseys, and they would wear their own jerseys, and the West would wear their own jerseys, and it might be the darker, one would wear white, one would wear dark, whatever the road jerseys were.
I believe they did that for a small period of time. I think copy in baseball, because I think they originally had their own individual jerseys. They went to that, and then they've gone back to their
So
jerseys.
baseball changed that too, right?
Yeah, that's a shame.
They got National League, American League, but they wear their own hats.
Yeah,
isn't that it?
Because Nike kind of strong-armed them because they signed the deal with Under Armour. Under Armour goes under, so then they're reeling for a apparel deal. They get Nike, and Nike says, okay, we get to choose every jersey for every team and the All-Star game. So that was the end of wearing your own jerseys for the All-Star game.
Interesting. So that's how that played out, and I'm assuming that's sort of what happened in the NBA too.
Maybe so.
But the bummer is you don't have a cap that you wear. So you can't really, figure that out. But that's the way it is. Anyway, they will announce tomorrow the All-Star selections. That'll be a lot of fun. I think it's a given that Ja will be a starter in the backcourt with Steph Curry. And then finally, and we'll take a break here, and we'll bring in our good friend Brett Norsworthy from the afternoon show. And, of course, Sports Time with Gabe and with Stats. And this is good news. Do you ever go to Sunrise? I'm giving them a free commercial, even though they are a good sponsor on this station. And Dennis Phillippe's ads with Pete are classic. I mean, they are really good. Zeke had to fill in for Pete. I think it was the last one.
Yeah, and you're not Pete.
I know. He did a good job, though. But Phillippe's just, he writes them, and he's so funny, and they're so good. But so's the food. I mean, that group, that restaurant group, it's like Central Barbecue is the group, and they own the steakhouse downtown, Prime Steak or whatever the heck it is. But I love Sunday morning. First of all, I love breakfast. That's probably my favorite meal. And Sunrise does a great job. Like, there's Brother Junior. We don't have enough good ones. Big Bad Breakfast, I hear, is killing it. For some reason, South Hall, I haven't tried that yet, but, that's another new breakfast place. But Sunrise is really good. And you got to wait to go in. You've got to be. It's a little like Brother Juniper's. Everybody loves it. So if you're going to go, or Bryant's for biscuits on Summer and Graham, you just know you're going to wait in line for a half hour. That's just the way it's going to work. Sunrise is moving to where the Blue Plate Cafe is on Poplar in East Memphis. That's the good news. The sad news is Blue Plate Cafe closed. There were a lot of issues with the building and the lease and everything else. But Mike Richmond passed away, and I've mentioned this. I just was so sad. It's still, you get a little older, and unfortunately it's life. But people that you really like pass away. Mike was one of those guys. And I didn't really know Mike had passed away until like 2 months after he had gone. So to Debbie, a much belated sympathy, and I grieve with you, because I thought Mike was just a terrific guy. But now we're going to get Sunrise moving. They'll have two of them, one on Jefferson and one where the Blue Plate Cafe is. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. Again, a couple days ago, I talked to Billy Connerly, and he was just psyched because they are really doing well with this floor model sale. And he's saying, like, even with stuff that's not floor model, like the pools and the spas, they've been selling spas like crazy. They're giving you that same sort of discount, even on the new products. And they just have new truck come in with a bunch of spas. So if you're ready, you'll make hay at least till spring, because this is the time when they got them in the place. Get to I-40 and Wooden Road. Great deals on those spas and the swimming pools. And there's still some floor models with theater seating and arcades and foosball and air hockey. All that stuff still there. Go check it out. You'll love it. That's Family Leisure, I-40 and Wooden Road. We'll pause for just a second. The star of the afternoon show, Brett Norsworthy, is right around the corner.
Former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn joins Brett Norsworthy for Sports Time on Sports 56, presented by Lexus of Memphis. Weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, I'm Troy Fivesh, owner of Fivesh Roofing. Sunday, today and today only. And for the first 50 callers, these are things you will never hear me say in my ads. Because if you're honest, sincere, and knowledgeable, you don't need fast-talking, high-energy, gimmick-promising advertising to get someone's attention. Speaking of that, how do you think companies can offer huge rebates and giveaways when you use their services or products? By overcharging you in the first place. That's how. 5S Roofing doesn't operate that way. It's misleading and dishonest. When I provide a customer with the best products and the best service, and I do it for a fair price, why would I need gimmicks? Best products, best warranties, and the best service possible. That's all we offer. Well, that and financing. 5S Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5S Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5S Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
The new year means new great savings at Gossett Kia on the Pike. 10 years of worry-free driving. We Gossett with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Take your pick. 2022 Kia Forte LXS or 2022 Kia Sportage, $199 a month. Forte, $27.99 due at signing. Sportage, $34.99 due at signing. Let your adventures begin with 2022 Kia Sorento, $359 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month leases. Come see Bobby J. He's ready to put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7. KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36 month leases, $650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Sportage, N702 7277, MSRP 25460. Forte, NE44 2833, MSRP 21980. Sorento, NGO 990119, MSRP 35340. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 must finance through KMF. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/3/2022. Dealer stock only.
For years, I have talked to you about James Davis, the finest men's store in all of Memphis. The service, the selection, everything that goes with quality. And I've told you recently about the Stant Perfect Fit shirts. Well, now there's the Stant Perfect Fit pants. Absolutely amazing. Only 2 measurements fed into a computer, and all of a sudden, you've got the perfect fit pants. I'm talking everywhere. The leg, the seat, the bottom, all made to fit your body absolutely perfectly. And there's 80 different fabrics to choose from. You will find the right look, the right fit, almost instantaneously. They start at $162, but you will never find a better pair of pants than these at James Davis Men's Store. And the shirts are still there, and guess what? It's the only place in Memphis that you can find Stant. That's the James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli, with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again, it's the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
You know Homer is the place to go when you're thinking about a new car or a pre-owned car, but I think they've set the standard. And here's the newest pledge from Chris True, the general manager over all of Homer Skelton Hyundai, right there at Craft Road and Highway 78. That's the very first exit in Mississippi on Highway 78. Lamar, you know it. He says, you'll never pay more than sticker price. In this day with car shortages, there are a lot of dealers that are not living up to that deal. They'll go 10, 15% over because they can. There's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. See the way car business should be done. Go see my friends at Homer Skelton Hyundai. I just was texting with Paul Rogers, the play-by-play man for Louisville, and I said I thought it was crazy at my place sometimes. Whoa, because it looks like Chris Mack, the Louisville head coach, who did such a great job at Xavier in Cincinnati, looks like he's out, and they're going to buy out a $12 million deal here. They're 11-9 and 5-5, and they were at one point, I think, up in the top 25, much like Memphis. He reminded me, and I got to let Penny know this or somebody on the staff, Rodney Hamilton or whoever's doing the scheduling. I think it was Rodney for a while. They have an open date on February the 12th. And Memphis still has that open date looking for a makeup game, Feb 12 to 20. Man, that would be fun if Memphis played Louisville, two teams that started off on highs and ended up sort of in a mode where they need games, they need a quality opponent to win. It seems like right up their alley. Wouldn't you agree with that, Brett Norsworthy?
100%. Anytime you can play Louisville, I would sign up for it, except for when you actually win the round robin and have to play them in some ham-handed playoff game at Vanderbilt in 1972.
That was absolute robbery of Larry Finch's team. That was the team that ended up going to the Final Four in the championship game in St. Louis the next year, right?
Yeah, the next year in 72. You could say the Tigers could have gone back-to-back Final Fours in those years. Now, in 72, that was with Don Holcomb as the post player, and he was good and very, very serviceable. In the next year, it was with Larry Keenan.
Right. Well, and Don Holcomb was really good, but he was not Larry Keenan. Who,
really
of course,
good.
Went on to
Don Holcomb was good.
Yeah. No. And is Don Holcomb still
long
around?
time ago.
I think he's still around, isn't he? Don Holcomb?
And this year, when the NCAA tournament rolls around, this year is 49 since going to St. Louis in 73. Next year will be the 50th anniversary of that.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
It is.
Time passes
so that
much
50th
too
year.
quickly.
So let's see. Bill Laurie's still around. Both Ronnie and Larry are gone.
Yeah.
Larry Keenan's still around. He's still alive.
Clarence Jones.
Was Bill Cook?
Was a freshman
Bill
on that
Cook
team.
was on that
Bill
team.
Cook was a freshman in 73, yeah. As Kurt Gowdy described him, the smooth and easy Billy Cook.
Yeah, that's right. I think he messed up a bunch of names. That was not Kurt Gowdy at his best there toward the end. Big Papi gets in, but no Bonds, no Clemens, no Sosa, no Schilling. Will they ever get in with the Veterans Committee, Brett Norsworthy?
No, I don't think Kurt Schilling will, and I think it's a shame, and he's done it largely to himself. He's talked himself out of the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. I mean, and a year ago he said, "Don't vote for me." Well, a lot of people obliged him yesterday and didn't vote for him. It's very very antithetical to people when they say, "Don't vote for me." Well, usually that means don't vote for you. And Kurt Schilling earned it on the field. Two Octobers. Remember what he did with Arizona, also with Randy Johnson, to take down the Yankees when the Yankees were at their most powerful with the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2001, and then what he did with the Red Sox. But Papi got in. Papi deserves to get in.
Yep.
But it also shows, Dave, post-baseball, post your career, you almost need to go on a good guy campaign, and Papi did, and it helped him with the voters.
I agree, and that's the shame. I don't believe it should be a personality question. I don't think it should be a popularity contest. I think it's got to be on the merits of what you did on the field in your era, and I think you have to be one of the top 2 or 3%. Now, if you're going to say to me, he doesn't get in because he was using performance-enhancing drugs, you got a much better argument to me than you're a right-wing wacko.
A nasty guy.
A right-wing wacko. I mean, that to me is the problem with Schilling. I am. Here's where I'm conflicted, Brett. I'm conflicted that Barry Bonds isn't one of the greatest players of all time and deserved to be in before he started juicing. And Roger Clemens sort of the same way. Both those guys had incredible careers pre-performance-enhancing drugs. Now, they did prosper toward the end of their careers, probably elongated those careers.
No doubt.
And juiced themselves up to be even more potent than they might have been. But I think they were already to the point where they should have been at least considered seriously prior to the juice. And
I thought Barry Bonds, I think he is the second best player to ever play. Babe Ruth won in the Babe Ruth separation, the pitching statistics.
Yeah.
But what Barry Bonds did, what he was defensively, I think 8-time Gold Glover, tremendous left fielder, great base runner, and remember, most of his career played in two places very difficult to hit anything in because your hands are frozen.
Right.
Candlestick and now Oracle. That new ballpark in San Francisco, it really gives you an appreciation of what he could do night in and night out when you go there and you see those dimensions and you feel that weather. And he had to do it a lot of nights like that, but they're not in. And baseball is trying to claw its way out of a terrible mess now with the labor deal. And Dave, it's sad for me that I almost love the Veterans Committee people going in like Minnie Minoso and Jim Cott and those Gil Hodges and those figures more than I do the guys from more recent.
I agree with that. I've got a feeling. Look, when Pete Rose dies, he's going to get in. He's going to get in for sure, because of, and I agree with it. I said this a long time ago. I think Pete belongs in when he doesn't get the rewards of being in, because he basically, much more than even Bonds or Roger Clemens, he put the integrity of the game on the line. There's no doubt he bet on his own teams.
Sin was more crippling to the integrity of the game.
Right.
But also for Pete Rose, he signed an agreement that he would accept a lifetime ban. For once in his life, he's being held to account.
Right. That's true. And then I got a feeling that Bonds
he bobbed and weaved through his entire life.
Yeah, he did. I do think in the end, maybe when they're passed, that both Bonds and Clemens get in based on their numbers.
Yeah, I hope so. And you know, Dave, tonight in Oxford, you got Ole Miss and Arkansas playing in basketball. We have all that action here. And for Arkansas, I don't think it ends where last year ended. And it ended last year for them in an Elite Eight. But Musselman had a tough patch early last year. They weathered through it. They went through that patch, started 0-3 in SEC, now rattled off 4 in a row. They head to Oxford to keep it going. I was telling Jay Morgan before I came on, Arkansas's upside right now today, Arkansas is 52 net. They could improve their net 30 spots because they still have at home Auburn, Tennessee, and Kentucky.
Wow. Well,
you go 3-0 in that, it's meteoric rise.
Let's face it, there's a lot of parity. Auburn last night, first time ever, #1, and they almost lose to Missouri.
Dave, you had to think of it last night because I did. We know what that first time on the road with that
Virginia
big bullseye being – we know so well. And, boy, that was a heartbreaker. I mean, I think that was actually on that Monday, wasn't it, that the Tigers were unveiled as #1.
Yes.
That was that Monday night in Blacksburg,
yes,
wasn't it?
Was. It absolutely was.
I mean, didn't get to enjoy it 10 hours.
Nope. And that was the great Dana Kirk team. Was that with Keith Lee, but I can't remember. Was that with Andre or was that with it was Andre Turner, not Otis Jackson. You look last night, UCLA blows out #3 Arizona 75-59. 12 Kentucky barely gets past Mississippi State in Rupp in overtime. Illinois is at home, but they knock off Michigan State 56-55. Even last night, Temple beat Cincinnati by a triple.
That was a great game.
I just think, honest to goodness, we have so much parity. There is not a super team. You know what? We thought for a minute Gonzaga was a super team at the very beginning of the year.
We did.
And then Duke.
We sure thought it a year ago at this time.
And then Duke looked like, oh, my God, the way they beat Gonzaga, they're really a super team. How many different – I think we've had 6 number ones already this year.
Yeah, and we're not through. We may have another one before the year's over. But at this point in every college basketball season, aren't we saying
yes,
there's a lot of parity? And I do believe there's, 18 to 25 different teams that could go to the Final Four. But how many can really win it? How many can – there's a lot of teams that can win 4 games. How many can win 6 games?
I would say Auburn is probably one of those. I'm convinced now. Like last night, Katie Johnson scored the last 5 points.
He took over the game.
In 90 seconds. You had Walker Kessler with a double-double, 13 and 12. The star of that game, maybe the number 1 overall pick, Jabari Smith, non-factor. Non-factor. And they were able to win the game.
Yeah, and that says a lot. When you go out there as the hunted, and Bruce Pearl is going to get everybody's best game, and he's going to give it a lot. But I think only Auburn and Kentucky are the only 2 teams in the SEC that can seriously think about going even to the Final Four. I don't think LSU is a Final Four team.
I don't either.
I sure don't think Tennessee is.
No.
And I'm more unimpressed with Nate Oates by the day. To lose at Georgia, and he has no plan B. It is tunnel vision. Make threes or we can't win. What
right.
kind of coaching is that? Is that strategy?
No,
hey, make threes or we don't win.
And they're not a physical team, and they're
not at all.
Not built.
Not good with the ball.
They're not built for comebacks because they can't make stops. So if they fall behind, even if they hit a bunch of threes like they did late in the Memphis game, they got to their 10 threes made, but it's too late, and they're not physically built to really come back. So I think they are really flawed. I'm not sure the Nate Oates system really works when you get and play against the big boys. Real quick before we run out of time, I promised I was going to ask you this, so I'm going to ask you this. I believe the Rebels in the early signing period were 10th in the SEC, yet they're number 3 nationally with transfers, which in this day and age, and now you got to look at that combo, which do you think is more important?
Well, I still want to go with the guy that you could potentially have for 4 years. I think National Signing Day or the traditional high schoolers matter, but it also highlights, Dave, now for all the ranking people, and you see some out there doing it, we need a ranking of the mix. We
Yes.
need a ranking of what you did, and there are some providing that, but we're down to kind of players, mercenary players that come in and can help you a year or two. And that's one question that Ole Miss is really going to face. You could potentially get Jackson Dart. Let's say he's all of that. He's just amazing. Well, you're going to have him for 2 years. You'll have him for the 22 season
right.
and the 23. Then he would probably go pro. Would you rather have Jackson Dart for those 2 years or Arch Manning over 3 years?
Well, I'm taking Arch Manning. But,
I would too, because I know what he does at the box office
right,
too.
Right. There aren't that many 5-stars, though, that I would take over that, honestly. I mean, for instance, Memphis is getting a running back from Northern Illinois that was the MAC freshman of the year.
Big-time
player.
player.
Over 1,000 yards.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, and he's proven he can play at that level.
Unless you've got a guy who's a running back who is a major 5-star with the body to take collegiate thing. This is where I think Penny kind of missed on Amani Bates. And I'm not trying to put down Amani Bates because I do think Amani Bates is going to end up being a good NBA player. But at this point, at 17, with calves and arms that are, nothing around, he's just not physically strong enough to compete.
He's got to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
so
he turns 18 Friday, but that's still
right.
very, very young to be playing against grown men.
Right. And yet, Jalen Duren, if you get that guy, he's ready to go right away. Look at his body. It's like, you have to take each case one by one. And
Oh, yeah. It's
LeBron
no blanket
James could have
approach.
played in the NBA at 16. I mean, his body was ready.
Herschel Walker could have played
Yeah,
as a
absolutely.
junior in high school.
But
But
Bo the same way.
both the same way, but most can't because, one or two can doesn't mean that everybody can. We're talking exceptional, extraordinary physical specimens in all those we just named. But, Dave, the whole portal issue, now for fans, used to you go 7-5 and you got 17 starters back and a couple are sophomores and a couple are juniors. Well, we're going to be good for the next 2 or 3 years. Now you just don't know. It is year to year.
All right, last thing. I give you a high, hard one. Today, Bob Uecker is 87 years old. Who's the greatest old announcer, Bob Uecker or Hubie Brown?
Probably Hubie Brown, but I think Al Michaels needs to be in that league because he's up there. And
He's 77. Come on. He's a youngster compared to that's 10 years younger than Uecker.
Well, Jim Cott's in that league, but Hubie Brown's unbelievable.
How old is
that man?
Yeah. Oh my God, you're right. How old is Jim Cott? He can't be more than 82.
He's probably 80.
81, 82, I would say.
Yeah.
I love it. Did you see the Bob Costas HBO? You don't get HBO. Bob Costas did an interview with Al Michaels, and first of all, you find out stuff. Al Michaels will not touch a vegetable if it's on the plate.
Good for him.
He will take the order back because the juice of the vegetable might have touched the meat. I mean, he's crazy
good for
that
him.
way. But
I'm
look,
the same way. Give me red meat. I don't want. If I never see asparagus, be fine with me.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I don't want anything green. I don't want a salad. I don't want anything like that.
Interesting. Well, you and Al Michaels are the same way, and I think Costas put it perfectly. NBC took Tirico, who's terrific. He's like a 5-star guy that is the future, right? But you were thinking Al Michaels' abilities were going to diminish, but he's like Tom Brady. The dude is still in his prime. What are you going to do?
He was so good in that playoff game this weekend.
Oh, he's always good. I think right now he is the best.
And made a great point late in that Bucs-Rams game. If Cooper Kupp is not in the top 5 for MVP voting, he shouldn't be MVP, but he should be in the top 5. Then there should be an investigation.
I agree. And he 2 big catches to end up making the winning play. He was incredible in the whole game. As always, my friend, thank you much. I'll talk to you next Tuesday afternoon. You'll talk with me next Wednesday morning.
You got it, Dave. I'll see you tomorrow night at the ECU game.
Oh, you're coming. Wait. What's your record with us?
I have not been to a game since March 5th, 2020, 6 days before Rudy Gobert night.
Oh, my gosh. You haven't gone to a Grizzlies game either?
I've been to Grizzlies. I just hadn't been to Tigers.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome back. We love it. Thank you much.
Can't wait.
I'll see you tomorrow.
You got it.
That is Brett Norsworthy. He is brought to you in part by the good folks at Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and free furnace. It happens every year, at least the last 4 or 5 years, where John goes, hey, look, it's cold. I got a full warehouse. I have got to figure out a way to move stuff. So he starts giving away things. I'm not kidding you. He gives away a Carrier 80% gas furnace free if you get a standard Carrier air conditioning system, which is state-of-the-art. That's right. You heard me. You get the air conditioning system. He throws in a gas furnace for nothing. And he'll include an April air cleaner, a 10-year parts warranty, a brand-new state-of-the-art Nest thermostat. That's all free. It's up to $2,000 in savings, and he'll offer you that system for as low as $139 a month or 12 months interest-free, which anybody can do. So get the new technology, get the free furnace, get all the freebies. Just call 384-3511 Conway Services. We'll pause for a second. When we come back, Jarvis Greer from Action News 5 is on the way.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Acura of Memphis invites you to experience the all-new, completely redesigned 2022 Acura MDX. It's the most advanced SUV Acura has ever built. Experience the convenience of full connectivity, including built-in Alexa, Wi-Fi hotspot, and wireless charging, from the stunning interior complete with third-row seating. Stop by our state-of-the-art facility and take advantage of our aggressive APR offers today at Ridgeway and 385. Or shop online from the convenience of home now. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
Do you want a greener, more weed-free lawn? If you're like me, you can't stand the sight of dandelions, clover, or especially crabgrass. Hi, I'm Brandon Hawley, president of Lawn Solutions. We are your locally owned and operated weed control and fertilization company. We are also experts in disease and insect control on your lawn and landscape. Our uniformed technicians are full-time, year-round licensed and certified by the state of Tennessee. Lawn Solutions' personalized service is far more superior to that of national companies that promise but simply cannot deliver. We return phone calls, we keep appointments, and we want your business. What we will not do is bother you with endless phone calls or junk mail. Lawn Solutions will not sell you something your lawn doesn't need. If you're looking for a local lawn care company to kill your weeds and feed your grass, then Lawn Solutions is the finest. Call us at 867-5626. That's 867-5626. Or go online at LawnSolutionsInc.net. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for your business.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts, boots, and more. Frontier continues to add new items in their women's boutique. Flair jeans and pants are in, and Frontier is fully stocked. There are daily arrivals with thousands of on-trend tops as well, all at amazing prices. And guys, Frontier's your #1 Carhartt store. No one has a larger selection of everyday fits and workwear by Carhartt. Wrangler and Area clothing available too. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled and expanded world-famous boots showroom? Now there are even more dress and work boots in stock. There are over 1,000 pair of Area boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, and Twisted X. Frontier recently added Hey Dude shoes with lots more on the way. As if the selection isn't reason enough, Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores. So when you're ready for your next pair, you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike is where you'll find the most bang for your buck. Take your pick with adventure-ready 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport or highest safety-rated 2022 Eclipse Cross. Ready to ride at $349 a month. And this is not a lease. You own it. Want 31 mpg highway in your SUV? We Gossett with 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander. Now $398 a month. Plus, at Gossett Mitsubishi, you always get our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So for our best deal, look no further than Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 72 months at 2.9 APR, 3,000 down, 500 loyalty rebate, 500 military rebate, Sport NU 001422, MSRP 27010, Cross NZO 49092, MSRP 27,000, Outlander NZO 53093, MSRP 29615, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2022, dealer stock only.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again, it's the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
She's a good girl. Jarvo from Action News 5. I meant to give this stat coming in. This is incredible. This is NBA. Last night, the Clippers came back from 35 down to beat the Wizards. 116-115, second biggest comeback in history. They did it without Kawhi, no Paul George. Here's the coolest thing. They were down most of the game, right? They used reserves most of the second half. They were down 8 with 36.8 seconds to go. They were down by 7 with 20 seconds to go. Jarvis Greer, I'm going to ask you this. When you're down by 20 with 7 seconds to go, what do you think the record is for a team?
0 and a 2 million.
It's close.
That was incredible.
It's close.
I saw that.
It actually happened one other time. If a team is down 7 with 20 seconds to go, they are now 2 and 16,239.
Wow.
How about
what
that?
was the other game?
The Rockets, Tracy McGrady, down by 8, scored 13 points in 33 seconds to come back and win.
Wow.
Wow. I remember the Grizzlies were maybe the first or second year that they were here. They're still playing in the Pyramid, but this game was on the road. They were down 28, I think, at Portland, and came back and won. And I think that's their biggest comeback ever. They're down 28. I remember that because I remember watching the game late at night, and I can't believe what I just saw. But they did it. I think they had Trubansky was on that team.
Well,
did he play? I don't remember.
I know the Tigers.
But that was a while ago.
The Tigers are still lamenting blowing the 19-point lead to East Carolina in the second half, and
my goodness,
they were up 10 with like 240 or something like that left in the game. So they're lamenting that. But could you imagine being 35 up? It was 30 at the break. 35 up late in the second quarter.
35 down. And wow.
And losing that game, you're sick if you're the Wizards. I think they said that was embarrassing is what they said.
I don't know how you recover from that. I really don't. To be up 35 and then lose? How do you – I don't know.
I don't know.
Unless, like the Tigers in that game, the last game, ECU, at least they had some extenuating circumstances. In fact, they only had, 5 scholarship players?
Wow,
two walk-ons, and then one of them, then Minot got ejected.
Right.
So, at least in the NBA, when somebody goes out, you can go sign somebody, bring them in. You know what I mean? You can replenish your roster that way. But, wow, I saw that pop up on the bubble, on the ticker, that score. They were down 35. Did I just see? I had to rewind it and look at it again. Did I just see that? Yeah, they were down 35, and they came back in.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Absolutely crazy. That is for sure. So tomorrow, after the Grizzlies game tonight, that's front and center. But tomorrow, they will announce the NBA All-Stars. It's a lock, right? I mean, he's going to be starting in the backcourt with Steph Curry, Ja will.
I would think so. I mean, I pretty much believe it now. He had a big enough lead over Luka Doncic, who's in third for the Mavericks, to at least from the fan balloting.
Right.
I think isn't that 50%?
It is 50. Yeah, I think then it's players that are 25, and is it media that's 25 after that?
I think so. I think everybody.
I don't know how the media works. Is that broadcasters? Is it one guy, a beat writer from each set? I don't even know who the media is that vote on this thing. I think it's
the whole total media.
TV, I'll be honest with you. I think it's silly the way they do it. I really do. I mean, I don't mind players having an input. I like the way you have input, but the fans who can vote today you can vote 3 times. I mean, that stuff's nuts.
It is crazy, but at least they get people voting. So, and you can see the totals. I mean, he's close to 3 million votes now. That's there's almost a million people in Shelby County, right? There's 1.3 million in our area, basically. And so that means he's getting votes from all over the place.
Well, no, wait a second. Hold on. I don't know that. I mean, you could be very, very right. But I think I read somewhere where you had the opportunity, you could have voted 14 times.
Well, if you look at it, though, look when the Grizzlies play. Whenever they're on TV away from home, there's always a Morant jersey in the crowd. Always. Every game. And they seem to find them. And they're not just people that, travel to go see the Grizzlies. No, these are people that live in whatever market they live in. So this dude's an international star. And he's the kind of guy that you want, that he's an all-star kind of guy because that's, when he goes, it's showtime. Wherever he plays. I mean, he's going to put on a show. You will see something that will bring you out of your seat. And that's exactly the kind of guy that they want in an all-star game. So Ja Morant should be a starter in the all-star game.
It's been a big year already. He got his own Nike commercial, which means he's probably going to get his own shoe sooner or later. Yes. And so I'm going to leave you.
I think Desmond Bain will be in the Rising Stars.
He should be.
He should be.
You could make a case for him being the most improved player. All right. Last thing. Not only did he get his own commercial, but he has had 2 incredible highlights. Which one's better? The 2-handed block on Avery Bradley or the 360 spin on MLK Day, which was supposed to be a dunk, and he improvised?
Yeah, he improvised on that. But that 2-handed block where he basically had to duck his head from hitting on the backboard going by, and then he saved the ball to himself.
Right.
To bring it back up court, that's just something that you just don't see. I mean, he's done already in his career. He's had 3 or 4 of those 360 layup type moves, and even one where he threw the ball off the backboard and dunked it. Off the backboard and dunked it against the Spurs, as a matter of fact. So it's the guy's incredible, but that play I think that was the number one play on SportsCenter even during the NFL playoffs.
Wow.
Which shows you just how big a play that was.
It was great. Jarvo, we'll see you at FedEx Forum tomorrow night for East Carolina.
Yeah, man. This is the revenge game.
You got it.
Got to get this one.
No doubt. Thank you much.
Right,
That's Jarvis Greer from Action News 5. He's brought to you by Old Dominick, proud partners of the Tigers, by the way. Located in the heart of downtown, Old Dominick will offer full distillery tours, curated tastings, craft cocktails, you name it. All you got to do is go to olddominick.com. You can find out about the bar hours. They have this great bar. After hours, elegant, not stuffy, really cool, and it's got all that product. And by the way, you can find the Old Dominick Spirit products all over town. You don't have to go downtown, but I think you should. Take the tour, learn the history. It's really cool. Old Dominick. Go to olddominick.com. That'll do it for us. We think Stats. We think Jarvo. We'll do it again tomorrow. Johnny Radio is next. Have a great day, everyone.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day over here